Good morning. Myself, Dr.S.Thirumala, Assistant Professor, Department of Environmental Science, Government First Grade College, Davangere. Today, we'll talk about the international agreements. Include the international agreements, Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol, and Convention Biological Diversity. International agreements. International agreements, Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol, and Conventional Biological Diversity. What is the international agreement? International agreements is a formal understanding or commitment legally binding agreement between two more countries. Agreement treat can be called a convention, a protocol, a pact, or an accord, usually governed by the United Nations. In these international agreements, there are two types: the bilateral between two countries, multilateral between several countries. Several hundred international agreements signed Montreal Protocol, the substance that deplete the ozone layer Montreal in the 1989. Kyoto to the United Nations Framework Convention Climate Change Protocol, Greenhouse Gases Emission and Reductions. The Convention of Biological Diversity in the Nairobi in 1992. In Convention Nuclear Safety Vienna in 1994, the Convention on the Protection and Use of the Transboundary Water Resource of the International Lakes, the Helsinki in 1992. In the more commitments are that Montreal Protocol substance that it mainly is concentrated on the deplete of the ozone layer. Under the Montreal Protocol, Vienna Conventions, the protection of the ozone layer in the 1985. The global agreement to protect the stratospheric layer, ozone layer by phasing out the production and consumption of ozone depleting substances. It's called as the ODS. ODS means it is an expanded the ozone depleting substances. In the stratospheric ozone layer, the filter out the harmful ultraviolet radiations, which association with the increase in the prevalence of the mainly the skin cancer, cataract of eyes, reduce the agricultural productivity, and disruption of the marine ecosystem. In the layer of the atmosphere, there are the four layers of the atmosphere: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. In the troposphere is the very closest to the near to the Earth's surface. The next it is the 80 kilometers above the Earth's sphere. It is the stratosphere. It is also called a stratosphere. It is also called as the ozone sphere. And next space is the mesosphere. And next is the 500 kilometers above the thermosphere. They distinguish the layers of in the atmosphere. In the ozone layer depletion, it is mainly the ozone layer depletions, the ultraviolet radiation UVA and UVB. These ozone layer shields and ozone layer shields from the UV rays, the filter the ozone layer and releasing the sunlight to the Earth sphere. The main causing of the ozone depleting chemicals, the CFCs, chemical chlorofluorocarbon, and halogens and methyl bromides. These are the major causing of the ozone layer. In the Montreal Protocol, they are agreed on the 26th August in the 1987. This act is a force on the 26th August 1989. Their first meeting of Helsinki in May 1989. The 8 amendments, they are 1990 in London, 91 in the Nairobi, and 92 in Copenhagen, and 93 Bangkok, and 95 Vienna, and 97 Montreal, and 98 Australia, and 99 Beijing, and 2006 the Kaggle in adopted but not in force. Here, the initially signed by the Montreal Protocol are nearly 46 countries, now all are signatories. Countries have binding time, targeted, and the measurable commitments. The developing and most of the developing and developed countries have equal to differentiate the responsibilities. The specific responsibilities related to the phase out of the different groups of the ODS. These mainly they concentrated on the control of ODS trade, annual reporting of the data, and national licensing system to control ODS import and exports and other matters. These are the ozone layer hole or the layer the depleting in the 2011. That you see the picture very less in the 2011 you compare to the 2015. 2015 there is a red mark of the layer picture. It shows that the thinning of the ozone layer. This is the percentage of the ozone change in from 1980 to the 2000. The observation is the average and range, the range from atmospheric, the model predictions. In the minimum ozone, they are continue in the 2040, they are satellite observation, the range of atmospheric model of the prediction of the Antarctica zone, they are ozone layer is more increasing in the 2040. The Montreal Protocol has proven to innovative and successful. The first treaty that achieved universal ratification by all countries in the world and leveraging the worldwide participation. The Montreal Protocol has sent a clear signal to the global market and placed the ozone layer, which is the peril on the path of the repair. Here the picture shows that why do not greenhouse gas escape through the hole in the ozone layer. Most of the Antarctica region, the ice caps are melting because of the more UV rays entered into the Antarctica region, and Antarctica snow will be melting start. In the Earth Summit held in the June 4, 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, led the signature of the three convention of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is the one of the among it in the June 1992. The UNFCCC, the International Environmental Treaty states the main goal of the Kyoto Protocol. The main goal means it is the United Nations Framework Convention and climatic change is the one of the among the in the Rio de Janeiro. Here, the stabilization of greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere at level would prevent the dangerous and anthropogenic interference with the climate system. The Kyoto Protocol negotiated in the 11th December 1997 at the city of Kyoto in Japan. The act will be forced in the February 16th and 2005. Nearly 192 signatories countries, they all signatured in this Kyoto Protocol. The legally binding agreement under the industrialized countries will reduce their collective emission of the greenhouse gas by nearly 5.2% compared to the year 1990. The affect the energy balance of the global atmosphere in the way expected lead to an overall increase in the global average temperature is known as the global warming. This is the UNFCCC ratification of the Kyoto Protocol. It is a signed, ratified, and signed ratification is pending, and signed ratification are declining and no position in the Kyoto Protocol. Yeah, the goal is main Kyoto Protocol. Its goal is the lower overall emission from 6 greenhouse gases, mainly the carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, sulfur hexafluoride, and hydrofluorocarbons and perfluorocarbons. Where greenhouse gas emission come from? mainly the greenhouse gas emission come from the 25% of the electricity of heat, 20.4% of agricultural land, and 17.9% of industries, and 14% of transportation, and other energy process is nearly 9.6%, and 6.7% of food waste, and 6.4% of the buildings, the greenhouse gas emission from the atmosphere. The difference of the natural greenhouse effect and the human enhanced greenhouse effect. Here, natural greenhouse effect, more heat escapes into the space, but in the human enhanced greenhouse effect, it's the less heat escape into the space. This heat is, they are created in itself in the earth. They are mainly the carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. It's the more greenhouse gases to the main, the in the radiated heat is the more in the re-emitted heat in the uh, atmosphere. This is the shows that the observed in the sea ice September in the 1979. This is the observed by sea ice in September in 2003. They are goes on the increasing of the global warming and greenhouse effect. They are melting of the ice caps. The Kyoto Protocol has a set heavier burden on the developed nations under the principles of the common but the differentiate of the responsibilities because of their historical responsibility for current levels of the greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. They are the commitment period in the 2008 to 2012 and 2013 to 2020, the reduction of the usage of the greenhouse gases. In the joint implementation, it's mainly the clean development mechanism and emission trading. They are joined to the Kyoto Protocol to main the convention of the climate change protocol. In the next is the Convention on Biological Diversity. The Convention of Biological Diversity entered force on 29 December 1993. The main objectives of the Convention Biological Diversity, the conservation of the biological diversity, the sustainable use of the component of biological diversity, the fair and equitable sharing of the benefit arising out of the utilization of the genetic resources. The CBD is the mainly thematic programs of work correspondence to the some of the major biome on the planet establishing the vision for and basic principle to guide the future work. Agricultural biodiversity, dry and subhumid lands biodiversity, inland water biodiversity, forest biodiversity, and island biodiversity, marine and coastal biodiversity, mountain biodiversity. The support for the initiatives, mainly the CBD, the business, the local authorities, parliamentarians, and universities and the scientific community, children and youth, the green way out for the schools and non-governmental organizations. The conventional government governing body that meets every 2 years or as a required is the 14th meeting of the COP, the Conference of the Parties, held Sheikh in the Egypt, 17 to 29 November 2018. They are conducting the conference, the meeting for the conventional biodiversity. The two conventions in the CBD, the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety and Nagua Protocol on Assessment and Benefit of Sharing. In the Cartagena Protocol of Biosafety, it was adopted in 29 January 2000. They entered into the force 11 September 2003 to ensure the safe handling, transport, and use of the living modified organisms (LMOs), the resulting from the modern biotechnological technology that may have advised effect on the biological diversity, taking also into the account risk to human health. The NAG protocol assesses the genetic resource and fair equitable sharing of the benefits. Mainly the aim to sharing benefits arising from the utilization of the genetic resource in fair and equitable way. It entered into the force in the 12th Act of October 2014. It is the UN Biodiversity Conference on COP in 14. It is on the held Sheikh in the Egypt in the 2000. The mainly the Convention of Biological Diversity, the biomes, the birds, the conservation of the bioresources. Thank you.